What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 415 of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast, Hot Tags of the Week, where we're going to be breaking down some of the current events, the rumors, the news, the gossip, and everything else that went down over the past few days in the world of professional wrestling that we feel like talking about. I am your host, as always, Tony Mango. I'm going to say it this time. And joining me, as always, is Robert D. Police.
Well, this better be good, Tony. You pulled me away from Disney Plus for this, so what do we got? What are we talking about?
How you liking Disney Plus so far? Did you watch that expanding the universe thing?
I watched. I immediately jumped to the Star Wars original and started watching early Simpsons, which I can watch without commercials now. So I like it. It took forever to get the apps to start working because, like, this morning they were all like just error, but that's okay. They were probably flooded with millions of users. I'm really enjoying it, and I can't wait to spend more money on it because I'm never getting rid of this one. This one is solid. I'm never getting rid of. It's like this and the network are the two that I'll keep forever.
You can blame those problems on Alexa Bliss flooding the market.
You think she just took up like every username possible?
Maybe. Alexa Bliss 1, Alexa Bliss 2, Alexa Bliss 3. I heard that there's a thing, this is Star Wars talk by the way, everybody. There's a Greedo shooting Han, that whole thing, or well, Han shooting Greedo, that they added McClunky to it beforehand, and I watched that and I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, what the hell is this? So who knows what else they've got hidden in the whole archives for Disney Plus. I don't know.
I'm eventually gonna just go through all the Mickey Mouse stuff because it's as iconic as pro wrestling wishes it was. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean WWE is kind of like if somebody wanted to be Disney and they just had horrible morals and some other kind of things to go along with it. Not like Disney World hasn't, you know.
We want to be Disney lately. Have you caught on to that? Where Hunter and Stephanie are like, yeah, we're going to be as big as Disney.
So does that mean that Vince McMahon's going to be frozen?
Yeah. I can, you know what? I can totally see Vince McMahon cryogenically freezing himself.
Yeah, his head's going to be put on in a little glass container like the Futurama ones. Obviously, that has not happened in the past few days in pro wrestling, but we do have some other stories to get down to. And of course, as always, if you are listening to us on the audio-only streams like iTunes and Spotify and Google Play and Stitcher and whatnot, then leave a rating there. Head on over to YouTube, subscribe if you haven't done that already, and like the video, and hit that little bell for notifications. And while you're there, leave a comment. Tell us what you think about all these topics that we're going to be talking about here. So let's start things off with the oldest topic right now, which is the newest signees to the WWE Performance Center. Some of them are names that you might know, some of them are names that you might not, or I might not know, or I do not know, I should say. But we got a couple different people that are pretty interesting. One of them is Shotzi Blackheart.
Hell yeah.
Who, she was at the Evolve show that they put on the WWE Network, which is awesome because she was one of the few that really stood out to all of us that had seen that. And I was waiting for them to sign her because I was just like, oh my god, just like sign her. Just do it now, you know, right after that. She is joined by Scarlett Bordeaux.
Hell yeah.
Who has been a part of Ring of Honor and Impact and a couple different promotions all over the place.
Is hot.
Yeah,
and I can say that is her gimmick. She is 100% built around being very attractive.
Yeah, the Smoke Show is her nickname, which I hope that they keep because that's such a good nickname.
They're keeping the Smoke Show, and I think they're really gonna run with Super Diva. I think Scarlett Bordeaux, in the same vein that Lana and Rusev are 100%. This is a test of how much we can say sex and talk about sex on TV. Scarlett Bordeaux is going to bring back the term diva.
Which that, random side note, that Lana segment, fucking awful.
Wow, you know, it hit me midway through the fake pregnancy thing that I was like, okay, they're just pushing the dialogue envelope. They're just trying to say as many raunchy things as they can to see what they can get away with again.
It just kind of seems to me like they wanted to do a pregnancy thing with Maria, and then they decided not to, either because she just decided not to be
Well, no,
traveling,
because
or
Lana's not
Canellis
even
left.
pregnant.
Right, yeah, but then they were like, well, we can't get that, so let's try to do something else with a pregnancy thing. And then they kind of like copped out, and it's a whole like, well, she's not pregnant thing. But I think that they kind of just want to do the same thing.
Is that obnoxious?
Yeah.
So like we're men, right? So we don't have.
Let me check real quick.
Foremost.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on, now that you mention it, yeah.
Caroline, am I mad?
We don't have the. It wouldn't offend us as much, but I'm seeing a lot of women just say, this is really offensive. We just got to this point where they can be taken completely seriously, and you're back to, okay, she's 100% being touted for her sexuality.
I mean, I'm not offended about that. I'm offended about how shitty of a storyline this is.
It's shitty. No, it really is. But then you look at the YouTube numbers and you go, well, it's working. Hate to admit it, but it's working.
Awful. But yeah, let's see how they push the boundaries when it comes to Scarlett Bordeaux. I actually don't know how she is in the ring. Have you actually seen any of her matches?
She's good in the ring. She's perfectly fine in the ring. I mean, you've seen, they have people in the ring that aren't the greatest. She's perfectly fine.
Which, by the way, Carolina, back to being called Carolina, and back in NXT, apparently.
Well, you want to just jump right into it then?
I mean, we'll talk about the next part of that. There's also...
That's likely why.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably one of the reasons at the very least. But there's also another new addition to the women's division, Indi Hartwell, otherwise known as Impressive Indi Hartwell. I don't know how impressive she is. I haven't seen anything of her.
She's good.
She's 22, so it's like, I'm sure at the very least she'll, if she'll like grow into being great, maybe. And a referee, I don't know if it's Stephon or Steven.
I'm going with Stephon. Stephon Smith.
Looks like it's Stephon, but it could be Steven. I don't know.
Shout out to referees, Yeah,
it's cool to get a new referee in the mix there. He apparently was a part of Ohio Valley Wrestling and Evolve.
Some Evolve work as well.
Yeah, so they need more referees. That's cool.
When are they going to bring back Chad Patton?
When are they going to bring back what? Oh god, I just blanked on his name. What was the dude from WCW?
Nick Patrick.
The one that was like with the mullet and all that. That was Nick Patrick?
Well, they all kind of had mullets at the time. There was Nick Patrick, there was Pee Wee Anderson, and then there was Mark Curtis. I know Mark Curtis died. Nick Patrick is probably enjoying retirement somewhere. And I don't know what happened to Pee Wee Anderson. Pee Wee Anderson.
I feel like there's somebody else that I'm trying to think of. Other than like Mike Chioda and all that. I don't know. If you know who I'm thinking of, drop a comment below. And I'm not thinking of Charles Robinson because he's obviously like part of the mix and stuff.
And there's Randy Anderson. I have pulled out all the WCW referees.
Oh, it might be Randy Anderson.
Yeah, he's got a sweet mullet.
Let's see, WCW Randy Anderson. I kind of remember that name now that you said that. Yep. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. That's like the WCW referee for me.
Hell yeah. Look at that. Sweet mullet.
That's ridiculous. Hey, at least we don't have that going on anymore. We have other ridiculous things. So, it's they only added a couple people to the Performance Center, but they can't just add like 300 people at the same time. So, I think that that's a good group of people to throw into the mix. From what I know.
Should go right to television.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's the case. Just bring her on to... Unless they do have plans for another Mae Young Classic, then she needs to be a part of that.
Then she needs to win.
Yeah, possibly be a winner.
I mean, well, let's talk about over on the AEW side of things. They signed Big Swole.
Yeah, that's official, I think, right?
The Big Swole is official. The rumor is Mercedes Martinez as well. And I really want Nicole Savoy signed somewhere. Why hasn't this happened, Tony?
I think it's because you want it so bad.
I
Just like
think
how
so
I wanted
too.
Mercedes to be in WWE.
Like at this point, just like even if she's just picked up by Impact, pick somebody, utilize her on a full-time basis. She really deserves it.
Well, at least now we got Scarlett in WWE, which I know some people are kind of like, it sucks because she's not going to be able to be asexual and all that kind of stuff. Was she really doing anything like super crazy to,
She was just, she gave Scott Steiner a lap dance on television.
Yeah, they could still do that.
I mean, if Rusev is a sex addict,
right?
Is there any better woman to bring into the fold?
It might not be. She's a smoke show for a reason. So thumb up and something else for that, at the very least. Feeling positive about that. Feeling positive about, which is very strange, an episode of WWE The Day of. This was the SmackDown's 20th anniversary, and I thought it was pretty damn good.
Made me sad.
Yeah?
Yeah, the Kofi stuff just makes me...
Oh, yeah, they bypassed that entirely. That was just sort of like, and this happened.
And Kofi lost.
But you know what I really liked about it? Was The Rock's portions. He seems so damn professional. Like, when he was checking out his shot with Kevin Dunn,
yeah,
I was just like, no wonder this dude's, like, on top of the world. Like, he seems like one hell of a hand to have a part of, like, anything, for the most part.
He seems genuine, too. Like, I'm sure everybody has a bit of an asshole in.
Right.
But he seems so genuine.
Yeah, I wonder what it would be like if you get on his bad side.
He'd probably be the biggest asshole.
Right.
Like,
he just goes to McDonald's one day and he's like, God damn it, what do you mean that the milkshake machine's down? And he just becomes the biggest jerk. But I could kind of see The Rock just being like, okay, I get it. Yeah, machine's down. It's all right, brother. just... And I liked Billy Kay hardcore fangirling out about The Rock and being all like, he touched my face and like crying and all that.
And it was cool to see Sasha and Bailey like right at the curtain because they're about to go out, and they're just like, yeah, and hugging him like that's The Rock. Because it's super cool to me, and I've never gotten over this, how actually into wrestling Rock and Austin are. Like, I remember when I first heard Austin in the podcast, I was like, oh, well, it's probably going to be all that hunting, it's going to suck. And then you find out, like, he's a fan of everything in wrestling. And Rock is the same way, where, he openly praised Cody Rhodes for his Dynamite promo, and he praised NWA Power. And it's like, that's super cool that they're just genuine fans deep down.
And you got to think that that's probably something that they just wind down with now because they're not, wrapped up in it as much. So The Rock's probably sitting there on his way to some kind of movie set or something like that. He's just like, let me see what I can watch. Oh, I'll check out NWA Power. And it's like, what? Really? It's cool. But I like this Day of. I think that it's worth checking out. It's not like too long. I think it's like 20 minutes or something like that. So it's just something to put on in the background.
Definitely one of the better day outs, because they've done like 5-minute day outs that suck.
Yeah, I haven't liked a lot of them, but I did like this one. And I liked Table for Three, too. That was
Shane, Johnny, and who else?
And Prichard.
So what an odd pairing.
That's called Mealing and Dealing. And it's mostly them talking about how they had met the first time, like each one of them individually, and a lot about the WWE purchase of WCW. And there's not too much that we don't really know. It's a lot of like, oh, this was crazy kind of stuff, but there's just a good camaraderie. And there's a particular moment that I thought was funny where Laurinaitis was saying that like when he had been brought on by Bischoff had said, well, I can't get Pat Patterson, so let me get John Laurinaitis. And Prichard's like, you're comparing yourself to Pat Patterson. I'm not going to let this die down. And it's like, it's a good little moment. But I recommend checking that one out too. That's a see it rather than a skip it.
Shane, another guy who 100% seems genuine and cool.
Yeah, and I liked another moment too where they were talking about how they needed the last 12 minutes of that episode of the simulcast, and that Laurinaitis was told that like it could go a little over and whatever, and that he was like, Prichard's like, well, you got two McMahons on the microphone. You mean it's not going to go over? So I like that. We haven't had a chance to check out like some of the other things this week so far because this is Tuesday afternoon right now. So like After the Bell hasn't been posted yet. Tomorrow's the bump, anything like that that's going on. But we do know about 2 more podcasts that are going to be coming. One of them has been trademarked. It is The New Day, Feel the Power.
I like it.
Reminds me of like Power Rangers. And the other one is it's not really a podcast. They're calling it a WWE Network interview series. So I'm kind of assuming it's basically the same as the podcast, but they're just doing the video portion
probably
too.
Won't air it.
Maybe not. But that's called Broken Skull Session with Stone Cold. And his first guest is going to be The Undertaker. Between the two, I'm actually a little more interested in the New Day one.
I would have bet my house that you'd be interested in Austin and Undertaker talking about wrestling for 2 hours.
Undertaker, yeah, but once he starts getting other people on...
Oh, yeah, fuck that.
Then, at least with the New Day, it's a little bit different, and I'm curious how they can interact with people differently.
And they seem genuine. I don't even want them to have guests. I think the 3 of them talking for 30 minutes to an hour would be a tremendous show.
Big E going off the rails and Xavier Woods trying to keep them all, okay, let's get back on track, and Kofi being pissed about losing something on Up, Up, Down, Down.
And Kofi just like the straight man, and Big E will just go off about a slightly sexual tangent and be like, whoa. And also, it's a good way to keep Woods in the mix, because you can do this. Obviously, we've never even been in the same room, and we do these all the time. And that's a good way to keep the New Day together and keep Woods, E, and Kofi all in the mix, and still being the New Day.
Yeah, and I think that they offer a completely different feel to the idea, because a lot of these podcasts are older wrestlers being able to talk about some of the older topics, but not as many people can talk about the newer topics. Austin can be like, yeah, hell, back in WCW, back before whatever, and Ric Flair can obviously talk about like the NWA, and people could talk about like the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, whatever like that. New Day, they could offer brand new insights to, anything from like the 2000s and stuff. They could talk about being a fan during different eras and growing up with like, Austin can't talk about the influence of Shawn Michaels because Shawn Michaels was his peer, whereas somebody like Kofi could be like, yeah, Shawn Michaels is somebody that I looked up to, and this is how this generation looks at things. And Big E can talk about how he's everybody's uncle.
But he's also their daddy.
Yeah, you should just do it for the kids. But I am excited to listen to both.
And do you think that's going to start?
I think that the Broken Skull one's supposed to be pretty soon.
After Survivor Series.
Yeah, like November 24th.
I got to tell you, I don't know how we're going to do a post show, because I don't know if I can keep myself from watching The Undertaker talk to Stone Cold for 2 hours. That's like for me, that's what the fucking network is for.
Yeah, they should have had more of these things. And it's not that hard to. It's literally just 2 people talking.
And while we're here, make Table for 3 a 2-hour show, and I might watch some of those, because I think those are great, and they move over them too fast.
Yeah, just when they're getting the ball rolling, it's the end of the episode. And it's like, you could have a longer dinner, Yeah. But they are still airing the ones from WrestleMania, which is so weird to me that they space these out so much.
I guess it's just to have content. Remember Camp WWE, how it was all animated and voice acted at the same time, and they didn't air like the last season until I think last year they aired the second half of the first season.
Did not like that show. Watched every episode, but did not like it. That thing went on for fucking ever.
That's probably my favorite part of the show.
Yeah, he hated that.
Because it's just like, Cam! That and the John Cena character being so just bluntly naive and stupid.
I think Slaughter was probably the only thing that actually made me really laugh.
Oh, Ric Flair too. Ric Flair was funny. Anybody who voiced themselves, like McMahon, I thought was funny.
Oh yeah, the McMahon stuff was good. I'll give him that.
Fucking great with kids.
I have one more hot tag. Kind of breezing through this a little bit, but this is kind of the big one. Cara has requested his release from WWE. And it seems like WWE promptly went, nah.
Yeah. All right, that's the hot tags vote.
Yeah.
This is mean. But what do you say here? First of all, good. About damn time you're like, you know what? I don't think I want to sit on the sidelines anymore. Sin Cara as a character has been there since 2011. I believe Unico came in midway through 2011, so maybe like June-ish or July. He took off the mask because Sin Cara Uno, I guess, was
Negro.
still
Azul was the good,
oh yes,
the original one.
Cara Azul. Yes. He was still with the company, and he took off the mask. He rode a bicycle.
He had Camacho.
He had Camacho, who, if you don't know, is like in New Japan as Tongaloa. He's Haku's son, and you just have him on a bicycle. So that's wrong. And then I think the real Sin Cara finally left because that whole thing was just a train wreck. He took over the Sin Cara character, had a good run with Kalisto as the Lucha Dragons.
Yeah, it was like a rebirth of his career, kind of.
Had a good run in NXT because of course he did. Because it's NXT. And then, I don't know, it seems like they bring him around every now and again, give him a US title match or a random feud with Andrade, and now he wants out. He was very genuine in saying, I believe in myself and I believe in my passion for wrestling, but I'm just tired of waiting for an opportunity that won't come. And I think you're going to start seeing a lot more of these. Obviously, we saw it with Harper. We see it with the Revival like every week. People are tired of WWE shit because they're not the only game in town.
Yeah.
That's not to say that everybody isn't having, is having a miserable experience, because Rollins is happy, as he should be. He's having a very good run and maybe the best run of anybody in the last, 5 years?
Is he really happy, though? It seems like he's a little...
I think he's happy. I think, when you look at it objectively, the Shield guys, and I'm including Moxley in this, can't complain too much. I always say this. Brock Lesnar's had matches with 6 people at WrestleMania, and the Shield comprise half of those people. You know?
Who were the other ones? Triple H, Undertaker, and...
Brock Lesnar. Oh, sorry, 7, because it's Triple H, Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, and Kurt Angle.
Oh, Goldberg, yeah, I'm forgetting about Goldberg.
And, those guys are legit first ballot Hall of Famers. Goldberg and Angle are already there, and the rest is Shield guys. So you can't say, well, everybody who's come in hasn't had a great run. But for those who haven't had the best run on the main roster, Revival, Sin Cara, Luke Harper, they're just starting to say, you know what, I don't want this.
And you know what's a little weird, though? Some of those people, and we've talked about this plenty of times, of the whole idea of who should go to AEW, who should be signed with whatever, who's not getting pushed enough, that kind of thing. It's a perpetual topic that every week you could change it and talk about something else. But some of those people, I really feel like there's a legitimate gripe to say, I'm not being used well enough. I know I can be better off than this, and I feel like I should be going elsewhere. Like a Luke Harper. Harper, I think, so underutilized. But with somebody
how do you feel about Double A saying, add Starcast, fuck, they're not using him right?
Oh, I think he's guaranteed to go to AEW. I think they're just waiting on the contract, and that's it.
Revival too. What are they? April, May?
Yeah, I think right after WrestleMania.
They're going. They are going.
They're definitely going. Yeah.
By Double or Nothing next year, or at the very least All Out, you will see Revival versus Young Bucks.
Yeah, I think so. And Brody Lee will be in the mix too.
And Brody Lee will be like having good big man matches against Hager.
But like somebody like Harper, I really feel like when he goes to AEW, they're going to use him as a big guy because he's going to tower over a lot of their roster too.
Oh yeah.
Whereas somebody like Sin Cara, I have to admit, I don't think that he has all
But
that
he's
much
got
that they haven't
options.
tapped into.
But
Yeah, I mean
options.
he's got
He's
like
got
CMLL,
CMLL.
AAA.
Yep, they took the words right out of my mouth.
But
He
even
wants
then,
to do that
though,
MMA promotion with Del Rio, that Combate America.
yeah, good for him on trying that out too. Like if he wants to go in that direction, that's cool. I'd actually be more interested in him doing that than for him to just take on some
Continue wrestling.
new, like because he can't use the Sin Cara
Yeah, he has to
character.
be Unico or
Hunisiko.
Unico.
Or if you go with the Miss Disease thing, it'd be like Hunis Disease or something. Just making another
Caristico dos.
yeah, like that's where there's a disconnect for me is luchadors to me, if they are pretty much just a mask and you don't have any other character beyond that, if they're not all that great in the ring and if the mask has to change, then
What do you got?
they're interchangeable. You know? Like I like, for instance, Lince Dorado. I think that he's not being used as well as he could. But realistically speaking, what would I do with Lince Dorado? He's not a main event caliber talent to me. And him being paired of the Lucha House Party, that's where I would probably put him. Now, if Grand Metalik and Kalisto leave in however many months, like they were saying, and Lince Dorado is by himself, suddenly his stock goes up because he's the only person on the roster other than Rey Mysterio who's wearing a mask. And then he becomes a commodity because then he's the mask guy, you know?
And Kalisto, they fucking tried.
Yeah, they gave him a lot of opportunities.
He had a match at WrestleMania. He was U.S. champion. He was cruiserweight guy. Like, he's one of the very few who I think might honestly just be missing a world title.
I mean, he won the NXT title, the tag team titles.
The NXT tag titles. He won the WWE tag titles, I believe. I
don't think so. I think he only won on the main roster the U.S. title twice and the cruiserweight title.
I'm gonna check just to be sure.
But he had gotten a much better pull than like Los Matadores, for instance. Unless you count like Epico and Primo getting tag titles before that. But like clearly they were not pushing them to be top stars. Kalisto, they wanted to be another Rey Mysterio. But he's not somebody who can cut amazing promos. I mean, Rey Mysterio was never able to too, but he was the only masked guy, so he was something different. Sin Cara, they gave him a lot of opportunities too. They gave two of them opportunities. And I totally agree with him though. Like, he knows that they're not ever going to push him to a top level. So go ahead and leave. Like, do you really want to break your ass for 3 more years knowing that you're just going to be wrestling as a loser on a house show loop? I wouldn't if I were him.
Okay, but what do you think about this new thing where people are openly, hey, I want to leave, and they're posting these public statements of, I thank the WWE, but I want to leave. I have more to offer the world. This is the third one we've seen. We saw Kanellis do this, Harper do this, and now Sin Cara.
I think it's smart, and I think it's a good idea kind of almost for all parties except for WWE. Because if you think about it, like Sin Cara right now, he supposedly has 3 years left on his contract, I think.
Yep.
Maybe 4. And if they don't want to let him go, which it seems like they don't want to release him, but there's always a chance that, like, you know, tomorrow morning we wake up and it's like, yeah, they just took him off the website and it's done. But if he can't really negotiate with anybody yet, him putting this statement out there lets other people know when he's available, we can talk to him. And in the meantime, it starts getting some speculation of, like, where can he go? So that's a good thing for people like AAA and stuff that they could be like, hey, we want to get him, and we're gonna kind of reach out and be like, yeah, we're thinking about him, whatever. I think that's good for them as far as trying to get a little bit of job security of leaving WWE. Also in the sense of being like, now it's out there and WWE can't act like I don't want to leave. But it's also like, if WWE wants to bury them on the way out, everybody will know that WWE's doing that because of that. And it won't just like hurt their stock, you know?
That's true. I just sort of feel like if you're putting it out there, now they probably just won't even use you. And then what are you, like in a Neville situation where you just sit at home? I mean, look what they did with Harper. He ended up coming back and being in a main event run.
Yeah, but then after that, what happened? He hasn't done anything since.
Well, but in fairness, Eric Rowan is carrying around a cage right now, I think. And he owns a pinfall victory over Roman Reigns on a pay-per-view. Sometimes I think they really don't see the forest through the trees, and they just want, like, for example, with this, they just wanted to put Harper on TV so that they could say they were using him, and now it's like, yeah, back to jobber status for you. I feel like they might do that with Sin Cara, where it's like, you know what, Ray wins the title, we'll give you a world title match with Rey Mysterio, and then back to obscurity with you.
You think that there's a chance Ray wins it?
No, I was just totally using.
Okay, I was gonna say like
I was just totally using fantasy booking idea.
I'm totally writing that off, and I'm writing off the idea that people are saying that his time frame is like that. Who knows if he's gonna be wrestling much longer with different things? And I'm like, you know what? I fully expect Brock to win and then to just fuck off until the Royal Rumble, exactly the way that he always does.
But you know what? I feel like everybody fucks off in December, so that's okay.
Oh, that's all January too, though. I mean, I'm expecting Brock
to
basically
disappear,
to entirely disappear from the day after Survivor Series all the way until like a week or two before the Royal Rumble.
I think Brock will enjoy this match first off, because he and Ray are actually good friends. Because Ray was one of those guys that Brock actually worked with when he was a regular superstar, and yeah, I just think Ray's gonna get his ass kicked because it's Brock Lesnar, and he will lose that title to somebody at WrestleMania. Even though we say that every year, and he never does. Like, I think Seth was like the first guy to beat him at Mania, but Brock rarely loses.
Yeah. And then we start getting into the whole rabbit hole of, well, who does he lose to and all that, but it's not going to be Sin Cara. No, Roman's on the opposite show now.
Ooh.
So, Kevin Owens?
Yeah. Now I'm interested.
I'm more interested in that than I was with the guaranteed Roman Reigns thing. But, I don't know, maybe it's Orton, maybe it's, who knows. That's a whole other topic for another day. But Sin Cara, I feel like he's either just going to be told, sit at home and do nothing for 3 years, which to me is an absurd amount of time to do that. Or WWE, I mean, realistically, what is WWE losing? Like, if Sin Cara doesn't want to be there, and you know that, at most, you've got 3 years worth of poking and prodding and trying to convince him to stay around, for what? If he goes to AEW, which is your main competition, is that going to make the ratings that much different? They're already beating NXT. It's not like he has anything to do with NXT. People aren't going to suddenly be like, I was thinking about watching that AEW, but I don't know, they don't have Sin Cara. Come on, be realistic. Yeah. Let him go. Save that money.
Every time you bring that up to me, I think there is a guy who on smark.com wrote so passionately about Primo, okay? So you never know who's a draw for who.
Yeah, but like one person, the big picture of the whole thing, Sin Cara is not making a dent. And they can save that money. And they can use that money to, I don't know, maybe that's the difference of signing another contract with somebody that you actually need to keep. Because who knows what I don't remember what they're paying him per year. But if you tack that on to somebody else's thing, then maybe that keeps like Cedric Alexander from going to the company that his wife is now a part of. You know,
True.
you got more in with somebody like that than you do with keeping Sin Cara. He's been there for like 8 years. It's not going to work. If it was going to
That's
work
fair.
before, it would have worked then. So, cut bait and just kind of be like, okay, go wrestle in CMLL or AAA or Ring of Honor or Impact or wherever you want to go. Can't use the Sin Cara name, can't use the Unico name, but go have fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish him well.
Hopefully he does well. I actually would be more interested in the MMA side of things if he does that. I mean, I'm not going to watch CMLL. I don't watch that or AAA, but
I try watching CML. I have the channel. It comes on at Saturdays at like 3 in the afternoon. It's just chaos to me. Like, it just, I don't know who's legal half the time. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, different story entirely, but Lucha Libre and me don't often mix.
Do you think that the whole Catalina thing, that they got rid of that aspect of the Sin Cara thing because of the Sin Cara situation? Or do you think that they kind of just realized, like, oh, she just started and she doesn't know what she's doing?
I think she just started. She doesn't know what she's doing. Hey, we're not gonna run with this. Hey, you're not gonna run with this after I finally thought I was gonna get some type of a character. Fuck it, I'm out.
Yeah, I could see that being the case. Even though he's lost all these matches to Andrade, he's had like 8 matches with Andrade on TV and he's lost every single one of them, I think. It's still kind of like, all right, maybe getting rid of the Carolina thing is the last straw. But it makes sense. I mean, like what we're saying, like she did not know what she was doing. She's not some seasoned performer. She needs to go back down to NXT and work through that system and figure some stuff out. So it doesn't like directly negatively affect his career, but it could be the last straw type of thing. If you like say you're AEW, because that's the one that everybody really cares about, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And Sin Cara leaves and you want to sign him, what would you rather see? Put him under a different mask? Or have him go back to the previous Unico character, like the whole like Devato kind of thing? Or something else?
I don't want to see Unico on a bicycle. I just go be a luchador, go create a new character, go try to make something cool happen for yourself.
I'd be curious what he wants to do, like what he thinks that they're not tapping into.
Because, listen, Cody Rhodes worked out great.
Yeah.
A guy like Moxley, even though he was kind of top of the mountain, worked out great. Even the other dude from TM61, Mikey, what's his name? What was his name in WWE? Nick Miller?
Yeah.
Yeah, he doing great in New Japan.
Oh, he's there? I didn't even know he was there.
CJ Parker, Juice Robinson, best decision he ever made was leaving WWE.
Yeah.
It works out for some people very well. We're not in an era where, if you leave WWE, you're scrounging on the indies.
As Big Kaz or like some kind of like, Luke Gallo kind of thing.
But even Gallows though, the Doc Gallows thing, that's what he ran with in New Japan. And he became such a hot commodity that WWE pays him a lot of money to just be a lackey at best.
Yeah. It still just makes me laugh though when he was just Luke Gallo and he was with Chris Master. They just took the S off. I'm like, that's really...
Was that TNA? That's a TNA move.
I don't think it was TNA. I think it was just like the indies, but still, I thought it was funny.
Well, anything that's just copyright, like, dude.
Like you copyright the name the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, and it's like the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michael. Like, yeah, so stupid. Stone Cold with 2 Ds. Steve Austin. We'll see how the future for Sin Cara goes. I kind of imagine that when he leaves, which I hope is at least sooner than later. I hope that they don't pay him to just do nothing for 3 years, because that's kind of shitty. Then, we'll kind of keep track of that and see if he ends up popping up something interesting.
I think this... So they're independent contractors, right? Doesn't that technically mean that you're allowed to just walk at your own will?
I don't know how that works out. I guess if you're an independent contractor, you can, but if you're an independent contractor with
you're an
a
independent
contract,
contractor.
then yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Like you and I are independent contractors. I'm pretty sure all we have to do is give proper notice and leave.
Yeah, maybe he could just do that then. I don't know. That's weird. Yeah.
See, you start thinking about these things and then you go, wait, what kind of carny shit is this?
So about that union, huh?
Honestly, I doubt that ever gets done in this lifetime.
Nah, I don't think so. Yeah, any other hot tags we need to break down?
I'm gonna look because it's still early enough in the day that we could get hit over the head.
In the meantime, I'm going to toss out some plugs for everybody. Obviously, blah, blah, blah. That's how you say the word, obviously. It's just, obviously. You should know these by now, but I'm just going to run them down just in case you are new to the podcast or you need a little reminder. Maybe you've got short-term memory loss, in which case I'm your host as always, Tony Mango. It's just a shitty joke. The Patreon is something that you should be aware of if you do not know already. We've got a bunch of different tiers on that. One of them is just $1, if that's all you want to throw out. Because again, if everybody who subscribed to the YouTube channel tossed $1 my way, then we would be end up being able to do some crazy stuff on here. So a little bit goes a long way. But also, if you want to directly take advantage of the Pick Your Poison tier in particular, and you want us to do a particular special feature, some kind of a gimmick, some kind of thing like a fantasy booking or Mount Rushmore, or we haven't done a Superstar Scores this year. Maybe you're like really pulling for one of those to happen, and I don't have it on the schedule at the very least. So maybe you want us to set aside the time for that. Donate to the Patreon. There's also one of them for fanboysanonymous.com. And that is my site for the geek culture topics like movie reviews. And I recently did my Patreon-inspired Pick Your Poison thing that Guest 5 had asked for, which was the remastering of sorts of Pokemon Generation 1. So those 3 articles are up, breaking down everything from the Pokédex that I would redo to how I would set up different items, and I would give different trainers some different moves and some different things like that. I'm still actually adding a little bit here and there if I think of an idea. And last night in particular, I ended up thinking of some real stupid concepts that I was like, oh, God damn it, I want to write an article about this now. So, I don't know, I might try to flesh this out a little bit more and talk about the idea that there should be a rubber type. And that there could be a rubber frog called Rubbit. This is the type of shit I was thinking of at 4 a.m. I was just like, I wrote down, there's a whole fucking list of why not have a really quick, speedy Pokemon that's based off of a Zeppelin called Ziplin. Yeah.
Alright, I think you need to donate to Patreon so Tony can get checked for his erratic sleeping habits.
You mean you don't want an elephant tank called Fant Tank? Or a magician that is a psychic type that has 3 top hats and it's called Hat Trick?
Alright, that's good. That's good. I like that one.
Yeah, this is Sleepy Tony thinks of these things. So I might do that, and I might flesh that out some more. And if you want to make sure I do, donate to the Pick Your Poison tier. There's also the merchandise shops for both Fanboys Anonymous and the Smark Out Moment side of things, and a Mango tees. So check out TeePublic and Redbubble and pick up a shirt or something like that. Somebody bought a magnet recently. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Magnet for voting for Captain America in 2020, I think is what it was. Any other hot tags come across? I'm not coming across anything.
No hot tags, but I do want to throw out there. It's 2019, and Roderick Strong, Shinsuke Nakamura, and AJ Styles are going to have a match at Survivor Series. You can't complain too much about wrestling sometimes. That's fucking cool. Is it not?
That has the potential to be the best match on the card. So they'll give it 5 minutes and it'll suck. No, I'm looking forward to that.
Like, the only way you could ruin this is if next week you go, give it to Dijakovic, give it to Humberto Carrillo, and give it to, like, Ali. And even then it'd be a great match. It would just be like, but you had perfection.
Yeah.
Don't screw this one up.
Alrighty, I think that we're all wrapped up. You want to toss some plugs your way?
Yeah, I'm on Fightful.com every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday doing awesome stuff over there. I'm on eWrestlingNews.com and I'm on WrestleZone.com. Always looking out for you guys, trying to provide you the best and most accurate news possible. And you should donate to the Fanboys Patreon because so many good things are happening in the world of geek culture, and we want to cover that as well.
Very, very
God,
much so.
and Callum would kill me. 2001 Wrestling Odyssey. That is our retro podcast where Callum Wiggins and I go back in time to the year 2001, as the name would suggest. Now, our November one should be coming up very soon, maybe within the next week or so. And yeah, we'll be covering Survivor Series 2001, so the end of the invasion. We'll be covering the XWF, which saw like Hulk Hogan and Sable and Roddy Piper and the Road Warriors in the same promotion, so that's fun. And Rebellion 2001 as well.
And if you like us going back in time, you'll be very interested in our next thing, which is going to be the Time Machine Dream Team. We've had this on the back burner for like 3 years, and I finally figured out the graphics and stuff with Caroline's help. And now we have that set up, so tomorrow, Wednesday, we are going to be going through the potential of pretty much anything that we want to when it comes to making different themed Survivor Series teams. And I mentioned before, if you have any suggestions of different themes that you'd like us to go with, drop them in the comments below, because we've got already a list of like 52, I think. So we're not going to get around to every single one of them, I'm sure. But what turned into, who knows if, what started out with, who knows if we're ever going to get a chance to do this, has now turned into, we have enough material that we could do a bunch of these.
Yeah.
And the ones we don't get around to doing, we could revisit next year around Survivor Series, or we could just do it as a random Patreon thing, or anything like that for the most part. So we will do stuff like the All-Americans, the King's Court, the Dark Side, Team WWF, Team Fat Guys was suggested, so it's like, you know, just a bunch of people who are super overweight. There's a whole, like I said, we have like 50 something.
We're gonna do Team Mabel. That's happening.
Team Mabel. Team random people Tony always brings up. Mabel, Bam Neely, Eric Escobar.
And Ricky.
So, look forward to that. I'm telling you to look forward to it. Be interested, damn it. If you're looking forward to that, that's happening tomorrow. And if you want to know when that gets up, then subscribe and do all the other kind of stuff like ringing the bell and following us on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkOutMoment. And that'll pop up when it pops up. But this is it for the hot tags for 415. Thank you for listening for this, everybody. And again, drop your comments below and we will respond to you then. But until then, we'll see you next time. This has been another Smark Out Moment, and we're being counted out.